What is up, guys, and welcome to the Meeple Minded podcast, the podcast where we talk all things tabletop gaming. My name is Jason.
And I'm James.
And I'm Ant.
How are you doing, guys?
All
How
good.
are you doing?
We're good.
I'm still here for a second week.
Yeah, we haven't fired him yet.
That noob's still here.
6 weeks probation.
Yeah.
Oh, you're officially still a noob, though. I mean, you were a noob last week. I mean, have you progressed on
I
at all?
don't know.
Well, if we follow the rules, he's forever a noob until we get a fourth.
Until you get a fourth person.
No, that was just you. Because I enjoyed tormenting you.
That's just the general rule. You pass on the noob stick to the next poor
You pass that torch.
Yeah, to the next poor person who comes in.
I'm seriously thinking, James, what we actually need now is like they used to do in like old school Britain schools with the dunce hat. Just have a noob hat that everyone has to wear.
Expo.
Whilst recording.
Jason,
At least, anyway.
Expo.
Oh, yeah. He was saying he liked the idea of names on T-shirts.
Yeah.
But hey, our fans will come up to us and go, hey, that's the noob.
So Paul is the newsman. I am just obviously the boss. We have Noob. And I mean, God knows what we're going to call you, James, because...
The components guy.
Yeah. The components list guy. The not so noob.
Well, considering the conversation we were having last week about topicals, I should probably just have, hey, James, wrong.
Or just one game James. There you go. One game James.
That's
One
good.
game James. There we go. Spur of the moment name calling there. Love it.
It's going to be completely ruined when I eventually buy a second game.
2 game James.
2 game James.
The question is, though, James, following last week's episode, when you eventually buy a new game,
Yep.
obviously your storage solution is going to be completely destroyed. Are you going to have to sell a game?
Decisions. I don't know. I kind of actually like the idea of this like one game thing because like he buys the t-shirts on the company account, so I'll buy games just to spite. Gotta buy another t-shirt and get it reprinted now.
Well, so that's the only way you're going to end up with a just dedicated Meeple-minded wardrobe like I have. Like, I have a t-shirt for every day of the week because I'm just that damn sad. And you're going to get there soon, obviously.
Well, I've got the 1, so that's 1 out of 7 anyway.
See, I've already said, oh yeah, we're going to Expo, but that's 3 days, so you need at least.
So I need 2 more now.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll get them in time.
And then we're going to Essen, so well, that's 4 days, so you're going to need 4. And I give you guys Sundays off, so you might, if you've got 4, you might as well buy 6.
We get Sundays off?
Isn't he a generous boss?
Wow. I like this boss.
Yeah, don't get used to it. But yes, how have you been this week, guys? I know it's been forever since we last sat down and had a conversation.
Exactly.
Oh, it has.
It has indeed, yes. Been up to much, just working, all that kind of jazz, yeah.
Working, playing games as per usual.
Games,
Normal meetups as well with you guys, playing even more games.
Yes, playing games is always good. I saw some news the other day.
Some news.
I saw some news, and I think you'll like this as well.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember we loved the game Flashpoint? Or more importantly, I love the game Flashpoint.
I like
Yes.
Flashpoint.
They've announced a legacy version. It's coming to Kickstarter in March.
Really?
I hate legacy games, but I want it.
Well, considering we now have this group and
Yeah.
we have our regular game nights, I think it could be possible.
Do you know what? If it'd been a campaign game, I might have felt a bit better.
It'd be-
because oh yeah, cool. We could play a campaign game. There's no.
It'll technically be my second legacy game I've ever played.
I just
as well.
can't deal with the idea of destroying game components. It goes against everything I stand for.
But then the rest of our games will be put aside as well now.
It's true.
Yeah, it's interesting. We were talking about this at our last game night, weren't we? It's like, for you and me, especially, I know we both sort of said this, is legacy games and campaign games we've sort of steered well clear of.
Yeah.
Because, once you start them, you've got to make sure everyone's still available for the duration and all that kind of stuff. As actually, we have a dedicated game group.
Yeah.
And fairly regularly, bar a couple of occasions, we meet up at least once a week.
Yep.
We might actually have to go back on that and can start considering these games.
Yeah. It'd give us an excuse to have a second game night every week as well.
Um,
So we don't want to interfere with normal games being played, but the additional game now then we might actually be talking.
Do you know what actually spurred my thought on that was Heat's got a season campaign
Yes.
mode.
Yes. Yeah, we might have to do some.
there we go, see?
No, I'm not backing it. James, you should back it.
Jason, the real question, considering our topical last week, are you going to get the Kickstarter version or are you going to buy the retail?
Is it just that, or are they reprinting all the other stuff as well?
I don't know, because it was literally at the time of recording was like a couple of days
They've
ago.
just come out of nowhere.
It has.
They're just
I've
doing
heard
that.
nothing. And yet I followed that game religiously, you know, to make sure that I could get all the expansions, and it's just out of the blue has just turned up from indie boards and cards. So I am chomping at the bit now, and it's like it's March. It's only a couple of weeks away. So really looking forward to that Kickstarter hitting. It is going to cost me money because it's a legacy game, which means it's going to be expensive.
But at least you know we would play it, because
That is definitely
we have the regular thing now.
That is very good. So yeah, I'm very interested in that. Yeah, very much looking forward to that. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that this week.
No.
We are here to do a game highlight now, obviously. And you've been on a game highlight before.
Yes, yep.
We have changed the format ever so slightly, but you'll notice it as it goes through because I will go into different sections.
Okay.
We talk about those bits and we give our thoughts and opinions on them, and then we say, well, the recommendations at the end, and then we bugger off and play some games afterwards. That's just the basic gist of it.
That's it.
We talk about a game, then
What type
we
of games?
bugger off and play something else.
That's it.
Sounds good to you, me? Yeah, it's good to you?
Yep.
Good to you?
Good to me,
Excellent.
mate.
Shall we do it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Alrighty, so the game highlight. What have we chosen to do this time? Well, it was a game that I didn't get to play last year, which I was most displeased about. However, we've played it a fair few times in 2024, and that game is Planet Unknown. So this is a game that you own, Ant.
I do.
The copy that we have here is actually our newsman, Paul. Yes, he is still here.
He's still with us.
He is still with us.
He's in a better place.
Still on, yeah, he's still...
Well, technically he is. He's not dead, but he's in a better place.
Just leave that one hanging for the viewers.
I'm trying to get, like, he's at home, he's chilling, you know.
He is. He's sorting out his mental and physical health, which is what we
A better place.
You locked him in the shed again, didn't you?
Well, when he gets well, that's the third thing that's going to happen, isn't it?
There's now a hospital bed in his shed. So I spent some money.
Bed goes up, bed goes down.
Bed goes up, bed goes down, bed goes sideways. Anyway,
We miss you, Paul. Come back.
we do it. Right, so let's talk about Planet Unknown. What is Planet Unknown? Planet Unknown is a tile drafting polyomino game designed for 1 to 6 players aged 10 and up, with an estimated playtime of between 60 and 80 minutes. And it was published, at least in the UK, by Portal Games in 2023. In Planet Unknown, our planet has become uninhabitable, and it's time to vacate off-world to set up a new civilization. Players choose from a selection of tiles to be drafted from a lovely lazy Susan, and then place them on their planet to terraform the landscape in the most logical and efficient way. Players score points by completing common objectives, filling the planet's rows and columns, clearing meteorite strike sites, achieving personal objective gained along the way, to building a new home for you and your people. That's a very professional way of saying.
What was that? Polymorph and whatever?
Polyomino.
Polyomino.
Polyomino. Tetris.
Oh, yeah.
Was it actually written
On the book, yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. I got it right then. Excellent. So that is a rough idea of the game. James, this is your time to shine. What comes in the box when you buy the retail version of Planet Unknown?
Okay, Jason and Ant.
He nearly missed it. He nearly owned
I
it.
didn't. Who could forget Ant?
It's big enough.
Okay, in the box with the retail version, you get 1 space station, which is the big lazy Susan that goes in the middle. 144 polyomino tiles, 6 double-sided planet boards and 6 double-sided corporation boards, a commander token, 12 depot indicators, 14 rovers, 36 life pods, 60 meteorites, 60 biome patches, 30 resource trackers, 36 civ cards, 28 objective cards, and 60 event cards, and a score pad.
Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent stuff. So, not the biggest, longest list you've ever had to read out there, James.
Not the biggest list, not the biggest components list. But there is a rather large Lazy Susan in that box, which is taking up a lot of room.
It doesn't sound like a lot, but there's a lot of bang for your buck in this.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a big box as well, because it's obviously a 30 by 30 box, but it's quite a deep box, equivalent to maybe a Scythe box or distilled sort of thickness.
I'd say it's more near enough to distilled size,
Yeah, exactly. So it's quite a thick, deep box. So that Lazy Susan does take up a fair amount of space. But before we talk about the actual components themselves, let's talk about theme and appearances within this game. So, Ant, I'll come to you first, seeing as though you didn't get a section in that start. How do you think the theme comes across with the appearance of the game?
Yeah, I mean, just need to look at every detail. I mean, the planets on the board, the player boards, the Lazy Susan itself isn't just a Lazy Susan. It's got that theme of like a space station or a type of moon, if you will, sort of thing.
Yep.
Very clear and thematic for the piece itself.
That's no moon.
It's a space station. And then, like I said, the player boards as well. Again, you've got very much looks like something out of Dune as well, which I'm surprised never put you off the game.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that.
Obviously, your other components as well, with your little rovers and stuff. I'm sure we'll get to and stuff. Your meteorite pieces as well. Yeah. It just goes well with it.
So do you think the game sort of portrays the theme that's meant to be set within the game?
Absolutely, yeah. Most definitely.
Nice. James, what about you?
I think the artwork, the layout of the boards, and all that, it definitely screams its theme. I was just looking at one of the corporation boards over there. I don't know if you guys remember the show, but the ship at the bottom's very Space 1999.
Yes,
the bottom, one in the bottom corner. Yeah. Most definitely.
Theme for me comes across quite nicely within obviously the artwork that we see on the game. Now, I find this interesting because obviously when Ant first told me about this game and that he wanted to play it, all that came in my mind was Disney Wall-E.
Oh, right, okay.
Because you've got that whole, the Earth has become completely uninhabitable and they've all ended up going on a big space cruise that they're now stuck on because they're trying to find a new habitable planet and all that kind of stuff. And it just, that is basically what this game is, isn't it, really?
To a degree, yeah. I mean, like I said, the normal player mats, not the advanced side of it, look just like a barren wasteland of a plain board.
I was going to say, imagine Earth, but just desert.
Yeah,
like
much,
with a few patches of water. That's the base, the standard.
Well, we are seeing it from the planet side, so if we zoomed in, it probably would be just trash, like in Wall-E and whatnot, really, wouldn't it? To be honest,
exactly. Yeah. So I think theme-wise, it definitely conveys what we're told to expect really within the game. The appearances are pretty good. The artwork is lovely. I will say that, especially I would say the advanced sides.
Yes.
Of the player boards, they are really, really nice. Some of them are just so vibrant. Like I sort of think about like this one, for example. It's the totally green planet. It's got that green. It's just really popping.
It pops more because it's not just a desert land or whatever it is now,
yeah. And then you've got the planet that's all water as well, which is, again, it just pops really, really nicely. I think they've done an excellent job when it comes to the art styling of the game. The tiles themselves don't really convey the theme that well for me.
No, but they are. I think they're there to stand out, to look like a population that's been built, though, isn't it?
I guess the thing that sort of kind of,
because if they were all desert ones, it's like, well, what's the point in rebuilding a planet?
Yeah,
or anything,
I get that, but I'm just sort of like, it kind of upsets me covering such a beautiful art piece.
True,
with all of these basic tiles, but they do what they need to do.
Yeah,
so, that's that side of it. So the quality of the components, guys, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think this game is very cheap either. I think it's like in the 60s at the moment of time recording, isn't it? So again, the Lazy Susan is quite sturdy, and it's not like some cheap looking thing that could break easily or anything like that at all.
No.
The tiles themselves are quite hard cardboard, but do the job well enough for what they are.
Yep.
You've got the little miniatures of the rovers and stuff as well, which I think still will pop out as well.
Yeah, nice little plastic rovers.
They're not cheap looking at all or anything as well. So I think the meteorites and the life pods are like wood.
They're wood,
aren't they? Yes.
Meeple stuff.
That's it. So no, I don't think anything looks rather odd or cheap or anything or nasty in this box, to be honest.
No, I mean, for me personally, I think a lot of the stuff in the game comes across as, oh, no, these are actually really good, but I would also sort of say they're pretty standard for board games in 2023, 2024. I think the standout for me, obviously, I think the standout for everyone is going to be that Lazy Susan.
Yeah, that is
in the middle of the table.
I actually, even though it's a basic component, I quite like the acrylic cubes that go on the in the corporation boards, because it's got that sort of dark, spacey background. They really pop on the tracks.
Yeah, because they are also translucent, aren't they?
Yeah.
And thank God they're like double layered as well, because that would have annoyed me if it wasn't.
I mean, that is the next thing to mention. There's a nice little nod to that, is that the individual sort of player, I can't remember what these boards are called.
Corporation
boards. They're not double layered, they're actually triple layered.
Oh, because they're either side, aren't they?
Because they're two-sided, but both sides have got the indented bit. So you've actually got a nice solid piece of the punch board in the middle, sandwiched between two thinner bits of punch board. So they're not super thick, but they've got enough there to hold the cubes in place and really highlight where you are on the board and stuff like that. So that they are very, very nice. I do like them a lot. Quality wise, as I said, the Lazy Susan's a Lazy Susan. It's nice. It's a bit gimmicky, but it is nice. It's good quality.
There's one downside to it, but I'll come to it later.
Okay, that's fine by me. Right. So, Anne, this is your time to shine.
Oh God,
because you're the one that will have taught this game a few times. How do you find the rule book?
Easy.
Easy? Yeah?
I think this is quite an easy game to play. I mean, I was a bit intimidated by it because I got to play this at Expo last year from the guys who from Board Stupid, bought it, Hi Tom, if you're listening, and introduced it with 5 players. I think this goes up to 6.
It does.
So not many people like playing that more than 4 count. So I thought this was going to be one of those games that's like, oh, this is going to be a bit too much to look at. But it is so easy to learn.
Yeah.
It's so easy to play as well. The rule book, I don't think is, as intimidating as other rule books have been. But no, I was quite surprised how quite easy this is to read and to learn and to teach.
Nice. So it reads nice and easy.
Yeah.
There's no blatant things in there that
I think towards the end there are like advanced rules and stuff like that, which again is your choice to do it, but I've not played those. We've done like advanced corporation boards, but there's even an advanced version of the game after that as well, which I haven't touched yet. But again, I enjoyed this game as it is, but I don't really need to go in that mode, so I haven't really bothered with it. But it does go a little bit technical towards the end.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So setup of the game, how do you find that? I from what I've seen of it, it's quite an easy, quick setup, because obviously the Lazy Susan itself kind of works as a bit of a box insert.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's literally plop it out, plop it in. It's already got the tiles and stuff in it.
Yeah, the again, your player count, if you're going for 6, it's going to be a table hogger.
Oh yeah,
an absolute table hogger.
Yeah.
But it works well with that. You mentioned in how you can just play it out nice and easy as well. I just want to go to the score pad because we haven't actually touched on that yet. The nice little touch that we can actually name our planets and name our corporations as well was a nice little thing for everyone to be like, ooh, I get to do this. I get to have planet Jeff Goldblum.
Do you know, I always forget that you can name your planets. It's just such it's a gimmicky little thing, but
it works well. Come on.
But I like it.
So I want to build planet Jeff Goldblum.
Exactly. And that's all. I'm so unimaginative because that's what I
that's what you always say, isn't it? Yeah.
Planet Goldblum.
Mine's always LV426.
You know, what's the motto of the company? Life finds a way, obviously.
There we go.
Has to be done. But so setup of the game, I think while I've not had to do this personally myself, I've been there plenty of times when we've set up and torn down the game. It's a matter of minutes, 2-3 minutes, plop the Lazy Susan down, pass out a corporation board, pass out your planet board.
And your little cubes that James mentioned.
And your little cubes, and you're ready to go. You set out an objective between the players.
Between players, yeah.
And you're pretty much ready to go. It's a very, very quick and easy setup. So, the big important one, guys, the gameplay. James, you can go first on this one. How do you find the gameplay? Do you find it fun? What do you like? What do you dislike?
I have really got into polyomino games recently.
Even though using this word.
Even though I keep using it. Yeah, it's just an excuse to use it. It makes me sound smart. I didn't say I was good at them. I said I enjoyed them.
I'll be honest, I'm not good at them either. I'm always last playing these games.
Yeah, I'm not very good at them either.
Shut up.
But yeah, I do. I really like the fact that you've got an easier mode where you're basically all playing on the same map, playing the same game with effectively the same objectives, and the more advanced one, which is the asymmetric side, where you've all got a different corporation and you're basically on you're all on different planets. So
you're getting different bonuses on your corporation boards as well.
So it is really asymmetric, and I really liked that game mode when we played it.
Yeah. I think as with all asymmetric games, if you're playing with someone new, it can obviously add some complications to it, because obviously if they've got a confusion with something going on their board, it's like, well, I don't really know because I'm not playing that board.
Yeah.
I can come over and try and help you, but you're going to have to wait till I've done what I need to do.
One of the comparing the two game modes, one of the things that I liked is because you had that asymmetric aspect and you were more focused on your board, it made it very hard compared to the easier one where you're all playing the same map.
Yeah.
That obviously you can block players effectively by going, well, I know you need that piece. Whereas it's
a little bit of hate drafting.
Basically hate drafting, because there's no wrong way to place a piece. So it's like, I'll find some use for it.
Yeah.
But I know you really need it. Whereas in the asymmetric version, I'm so consumed by, okay. Like I had the one where you couldn't put certain types of building in certain quadrants.
Areas. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so it would be very easy for you to
try and pin you out of
hate draft the hell out of me, but you were so concerned with your own board.
But that also stopped you doing objective as well, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something to bear in mind. I think that when you're talking about the base level and the standard planet board, where everyone's on that level playing field, I find that there's actually a lot less of the hate drafting side of it. People aren't really paying that much attention because everyone's on a level playing field. Whereas when you do hit that asymmetric side, I am more acutely aware of, well, James's board, he's got certain quadrants he can't put stuff in. And this particular objective that I can see we're both going for is going to hinder him in that. And with me, I've got a board that I've got no sand on my boards, but I've got an energy field, which is the only way I can get. Oh no, it was water, wasn't it? I've got no water
you
on
have
my
to connect,
board.
yeah.
I have to connect it to that for it to work, which was a challenge for me. So again, I wasn't blocked out of putting stuff down, but I had a challenge of I have to sort of maneuver my tiles in a certain way so that the water was touching.
Yeah.
I can't remember what yours was, Ant. In the last game we played,
mine was so I had buildings on my map, and if I didn't build over them, I would get 2 extra points at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So I had to leave spaces on mine,
Yeah.
so I couldn't. So my one was the damage of I can't complete a line ever.
Yeah,
because
which as as we'll talk about, inevitably is obviously one of the scoring things in the game is getting points for vertical and horizontal columns. It's my favourite way of winning because
yes, we know
we sort of hinted on it a little bit. I love polyomino games. I'm stupid. I'm thick in pretty much everything. Yet seemingly shapes. I go back to being a 2-year-old. Where you have that little bucket of shapes that you have to put through the holes. I just seem to be able to sort of right. I can see where I need to put these things to optimize my basic route. I love polyomino games, and I just weirdly seem to be pretty all right at them.
Yeah.
Even when I think I'm doing badly. That last game that we played, I genuinely thought I'd done terrible. And yet I arguably did one of the best I've ever done. So, yeah, I think that...
I'm not going to lie, he did.
Yeah. But, yeah... Things about the gameplay that I quite like is, the way the Lazy Susan works. When it's your turn, you have a section of the Lazy Susan that you can take from, and you turn it around till you get to a section that you want. You lock it in place, and I take a tile from there. And what James is saying about blocking people out, when I've locked it in, they get to take a tile, or the other players get to take a tile from their section. So... Again, something I love about games, minimal downtime, because we're all doing something at the same time.
Exactly what I was going to say.
I was going to say, let's phrase that properly. It's not may take a tile, they have to.
You have to, yeah.
You have to take. So it's like, I know Jason can't physically fit that piece in, or it will make it really difficult.
Yep.
So I'm going to lock it in that section.
Yeah.
So you have to take it.
Yeah, and each section has 2 different tile types in there. So, as you're saying, you may see, I 100% can't fit that one in, which means I've got to take the other one, which might have a meteorite on it. Meteorites stop you from scoring columns and horizontal and vertical columns. So you could technically hinder me in that, because the only way to get rid of it is with those rovers that
the rovers that pick them up,
so earlier, and they only move tiny amounts throughout the game.
Yeah.
So there is definitely a lot of strategic play here, and again, that's something that really has always screamed through to me. But what about yourself, Anne?
No, mine's exactly the same, mate. I mean, like I said, I've played this with big numbers, so there's one bug with me that with board games is that people taking their time to take a turn.
Oh, hell yeah.
So that's what I love about this, because like you've mentioned, you've placed it, you've locked it. We don't wait for you because everyone else does their turn exactly the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is a big thing for me with this game is that, and I think it, like you said, we've badgered on about the timer of what it says on the box, 60 to 80 minutes or whatever the game we talk about. This one's perfect because I think it does actually do that on that stretch.
See, now I was going to ask you actually about the time that is quoted on the box. Do you think 60 to 80 minutes is accurate?
I think it's less.
I think
we did less than 60 last time.
You know, I'm sure every game I've played of this has been done and dusted in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Even when I played it at the full 6.
Definitely under the 60 mark. Definitely.
I mean, don't get me wrong, 6 was tough because the game went a lot faster.
Yeah.
Because obviously you're getting more tiles quicker before it gets back around to your turn. But arguably, when it's that asymmetric play and everyone's doing something on everyone's turn, does it ever feel like it's not your turn?
This is it, exactly.
You know, the only difference is you get to choose which section you're taking from on your turn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
my highlight for this game, for gameplay wise.
Yeah, nice. Is there any particular mechanics or mechanisms, that stand out to you as, this is really cool?
I mean, like I said, the lazy season is definitely one, but maybe the corporation ones as well.
Yeah, because I mean, do you want to give a rough idea of how the corporation things work? Because you've got a basic side and an advanced side, haven't you?
So we'll just stick with the basic side, shall we?
Yeah, stick with
so
the
basic side. So you have a board that has 5 spaces on it, and you have little cubes on there. So every time you place a tile on your turn, it will always bump up this tracker.
Yep.
And it will be for water or, technology or your rover to move and stuff like that. So you are advancing or gaining points nearly every turn in this game.
Yep.
And this is a great way just to keep track of things. And there are little bonuses as well if your cube gets so high to so many points. And obviously there are wild spaces as well, so you can bump your track up another way for everyone all the same way. So, but not just that, you also have the technology side where you can advance your play even better. Like, shall we say how we start the game? You have to start from the outside of the planet, for example. Whereas if you build up your technology so much, you can put a tile anywhere on the board later on.
Yeah, because otherwise it has to be connected to a previous tile.
Exactly. So, which is a big thing for helping you tile if you haven't got a piece that you don't want, I mean,
well, I mean, hell yeah. I'm talking about being good at polyomino games. That is one of the key things that you need to get.
It is, yeah.
It's like I need to be able to place these tiles where I need them, not where it wants me to place them.
Exactly.
So that's a key upgrade for me. And I think the last game we played, where we were playing on the advanced side, I didn't have that, and it really hindered me.
This is it.
Which is why I said I thought I was doing badly. So I'm sitting there going, I can see the shapes, I can see where I need to put stuff. I can't do it because I'm not getting the pieces when I need to get them.
Yeah.
And because I don't have that ability, I can't do it when I want to do it, or whenever I don't want to do it. As I'm being press gagged by the game and the other players to do what it wants. And no, I'm a stubborn SOB.
So.
It was very entertaining to watch you sit there going.
My poor game table has been scratched more times than
it was quite fun hearing him say, "Damn you, James! Damn you, Ant!" But he still won somehow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is quite cool because, again, like you say, every time you go up, because you go up every turn, don't you?
Yes.
Because you always go up every time you place that tile on the board, right?
Always upgrade. And if you manage to attach it to an energy tile, you get double that,
course.
whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's another good thing as well.
Yeah, so you've always got stuff going up. Normally 2 things per turn will go up.
Yeah.
And if you can get some kind of chain thing going on, maybe you get 3 or 4 of them going up, and it's really, really good. I like the rover mechanic as well.
I do, yeah.
It's really limiting.
Yes.
But oh my God, it is good fun. Because, as I said, if you, at the end of the game, when you're scoring, the final scoring, you're scoring your vertical and horizontal columns, they are 1, 2, or 3 points apiece, I think they are. However, if there is a meteorite anywhere on that column, you can't score it.
Can't score, no.
And the only way to get rid of them is with those damn rovers, which move a maximum of 4, I believe.
Yep.
But that's right at the top of the track, which is like 15 upgrades.
And if you've got a couple of rovers there and you land on the three, for example, it's not 3 per rover, it's 3 within
in total.
In total, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got to plan it
And
well.
you've also got the escape pods as well.
Yeah, the life pods, isn't it? The blue ones.
Life pods.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes, there are. Yeah.
Yep.
So when you start the game, there are 6
Yes.
life pods on the board, which you can collect. And for every one of those you collect, you get a point.
Yep.
I just enjoy flattening
You
them.
tend to destroy them, really, don't you, Jason?
I destroy them
Yeah,
pretty
if
quickly.
if you build over them before you've collected them, they're lost.
Yeah. I view it in the way of I'm sacrificing 6 points in favour of completing that line as quickly as possible and basically gaining those 6 points as well.
Yeah. I have to admit that, like, unless it's feasible for me to get the rover there quickly and not focus on the meteorites because but if by some miracle I'm meteorite free, then I might get them. But other than that, it's like, sorry, you're standing in the way of progress.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're talking about these meteorites. I guess we should say how they appear on the table.
Yes, of course, yeah.
So the tiles themselves, as we said, have the different biomes and what have you on them, and they also have symbology on them in the form of a flaming meteorite. If you're placing a tile that has that on there, you have to add a meteorite on the table, one of your little wooden pieces, and it just sits there until it's collected. Yeah.
See, that was the hard thing for my corporation when we played the advanced side, because I had the one. I got more rovers.
You had like more rovers than anyone.
I got more rovers, but it's because
they could only
standard.
hold one, wasn't it?
You just have to get the rover to the meteorite and it's collected. No, I had to carry it.
You had to carry it to a certain place, didn't you? Yeah.
Back to a red tile. And that was really hard. I genuinely didn't think I was going to clear all the meteorites because they move so slowly.
Yeah.
But then you talking about collecting them just to clear a line out. But again, if you carry or collect more than 3, you get a point for that as well.
Exactly.
So it's kind of a bonus as well in a way.
Yeah. So there is swings and roundabouts. I think there's multiple ways to go about a victory in the game, which again is another big plus point for me. We all know how singular games where there's only one way to win, they tend to be a bit boring because everyone plays the same.
That's it.
But have you got any sort of other points that you want to say that are big positives for you in this game?
I think it's got a lot of replayability because of the 2 modes and the 6 different planets.
Yeah.
So especially if you're playing the advanced sides, that's 6 entirely different, unique worlds.
Yeah, and you've got the 6 advanced sides of the corporations.
So you've got at least 12 combinations there of different gameplay.
Yeah,
because
different objectives as well every time.
Yeah, because the objectives are a card stack.
Yes,
as well, which are shuffled and dealt out.
Yeah.
You've got the race to get the was it the Civ?
The Civ's cards,
which could be anything from just gain
immediate or end game, isn't it?
A couple of medals at the end, or some of them will be like, oh, well, take a tile from your section, immediately and what have you. So there's a few different rewards, 3 different levels of them as well, different power depending on where you are on your board. So that adds a lot of replayability. As Ant said, there's the advanced version.
And a solo, apparently.
And a solo mode. There's a lot of replay value in this box, which actually, when we go back to talking about the components and how little it seems there is in the game, I think it's really impressive that they've managed to get so much replayability out of what is ultimately some Tetris pieces and a flat board.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
It's quite clever because then, we were talking on a previous episode about deluxe editions and whatnot, and then, this doesn't need it because it has everything there in such a small, it's just a couple of tiles and maybe a couple of mirror pieces, then done and done. That's all you need. It's so simple, and that's what I love about that as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the game wouldn't work without that deluxe Lazy Susan, would it? Because you need it to be able to turn it. So it's kind of a necessity in the game. So, you could look at it as a deluxeified component if you want, but I don't really see how they could do the game without it.
I just want to point out the reason a pro for this is that it's just so easy to play. Yes. It looks intimidating, but it's so easy to play. I mean, I sometimes host games like for my sister and my brother-in-law and stuff, and they come over, and we just play simple party games. And I brought this to the table, and it was easy done. They're like, they always have that sort of look on their face. But once you place a piece, move your tracker up. That's all you do, and that's it. Yeah,
I think this game. I mean, I would definitely agree that goes in the pro section of the game because it is as light or as strategy-based complexity as you want it to be. You could play this in mind-numbing, basic form. Yeah. Which is pick a piece, put a piece down, try and fill your board.
But then you've got the option to go further if you want to make it more difficult or more mind-numbing for people.
Exactly. So, James, would this be a game that you would get your family to play? That's the real question.
Yeah, probably.
Excellent. So you're going to buy this one then?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, any cons that you think of the game? I'm interested to see if anyone has any of those.
I have one.
Okay, let's go for it.
It's really bugging me.
What is it?
It doesn't come with a lid.
It doesn't come with a lid?
It doesn't come with a lid for this Lazy Susan. So I can only put my box a certain way, because if I flip it the other way, they're all going to come out.
Yes. Yeah, I will say, when I was getting the bits out earlier, ready for this episode,
I don't know if the deluxe edition does, but I've game founded the add-on for this, which should be out next month. And they've finally produced a lid for it, so they had to get the lid separately.
See, that to me just sounds like that was an oversight, and then they went, once it had shipped, they went, oops.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a bit of feedback. Yeah. Yeah, so, I can definitely see that being a problem because, as I said, this basically acts as an insert, doesn't it?
Yes.
But it's not a snugly
But if you're travelling to someone's house or whatnot and you accidentally drop it or whatever, then all these pieces are going everywhere.
If you store the game on its side...
that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You're done. I've been keeping it dead flat here, yet there was still tiles that were outside of the Susan when I got out of the box. As I said, it's not a snug fit. So I think you're right. I think it needs some kind of lid because even the game mats don't sit.
I would argue that it can't be a snug fit because ultimately it's a playing piece, so it's designed for you to easily be able to lift those pieces out. If it was a snug fit, it would be really fiddly.
That is very true. That is very, very true. So yeah, the lid is kind of the only real way around that, isn't it?
Yeah, but you can tell obviously that every section has got these finger holes for you to literally be able to just easily take a piece out.
Yeah.
Like,
especially for someone like me that's got fat fingers.
I have that issue as well.
if you were basically resigned to doing this, like having to pinch them out, like 2 or 3 tiles down, it becomes really difficult.
It's very true because it's not the most shallow, is it? Because there's 8, 9, 10 tiles of each in.
Well, I think it said there's 144 pieces altogether.
Yeah. They've gone all out for this. What would another piece of plastic over the top?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's arguably for the quality it is plastic, but what else could they? If it was made of wood, it'd be horrific.
Oh no, I wouldn't want it to be wood because then you lose your theme of it, then don't you? So.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that's obviously a con for the. I suppose that's
a con for me. What about you guys?
It's a bit of a con for the gameplay as well as the components, isn't it? Really. I think weirdly I hadn't picked up on that. So I actually agree with you. That is something that I think that's a bit of an oversight.
I think we can go back to another con from James's perspective last time we played. Like he had a certain map, then a certain objective he couldn't do, so we had to look back and change that.
We did.
So maybe that might be another one.
Yeah,
there seems like there's certain combinations that would be at an immediate disadvantage.
Yeah, so they should have don't combine this with this objective with this map effectively.
Sort of like Scythe did with their
with their infinitely growing list of don't combine this with this because it's broken.
Or just have the separate deck for actually the advanced sides, and then separate another deck for that, not just keep using the same one.
So the objective they're referring to is because I had my planet was split into quadrants, and there are certain tiles I can't place in a quadrant.
Yeah.
And then the objective was I must complete the entire outer edge of the board with one type of building. So it's like, well, there's immediately one quadrant I can't place that building in.
Yeah, exactly. It's just physically impossible for you, wasn't it?
It wasn't possible at all.
Yeah. And it would have been the same for me with regards to the water one, because I couldn't place water on it.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, like electrified planet or something, didn't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was like, put water around the edges. I physically can't. So... it just would never have worked for me. So yeah, I think there's definitely a con to be had there in the sense of maybe I've not personally read the book. I know Ant has, but obviously he's not found it. I don't think there's anything in there that says don't do this.
Yeah, it should be. It's basically if this objective comes up against this map, bin it and draw a new one. Basically,
yeah.
Which we did in the end anyway. So. Yeah. But it was a good thing you spotted that, otherwise it would improve for the gameplay, being like, actually, you can't really achieve that, so...
Nice. I think for me, gameplay-wise, I don't think I've really got any complaints.
No, definitely not.
There's no real negatives to it. I enjoy the game. It is a good, fun game. So my next question for you guys is, did the game capture the theme for you through its gameplay? We've already talked about the theme itself and how it appears on the board, but do you think the gameplay itself captures that thing of you're building a new civilization?
I'll be honest, I was playing it the first couple of times and I kind of forgot about the theme. I just felt like I'm placed in Tetris on a board now trying to do this and that. Completely forgetting that I'm actually trying to build a planet here at the same time. But up until I got to play it a bit more, I kind of realized, all right, this does actually go well with, especially when you get we didn't mention earlier, the biomass spaces.
Yes.
So it's like another piece of Greenland to fill in the gap, woodland, if you will, sort of thing. And it's like, that actually goes well and actually looks nicer and actually looks like a planet now as well. So
rather than just an industrial wasteland.
Yeah, what about you guys? that for me, the
artwork basically, because the 5 different types are basically cities, rover spaces, so you could argue that they're roads.
Yeah.
Green space presumably for oxygen production, water, and technology and power.
Yeah.
So it's not a heavy game. It's not like you've got to balance requirements. You if you don't build any power, it's not going to affect you apart from your points multiplier.
You're not limited to not doing a certain thing, are
you? So it's not a heavyweight game where you've got to basically provide for your people. It's just, so in that respect, I suppose it doesn't, because it is ultimately put Tetris pieces down.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what they are.
So I think really for me, I sort of asked myself questions. Did I feel like I was building a new civilization? Sort of, but not really.
Yeah.
I definitely felt like I was building something off-world, 100%. But did I feel like I was building something for, habitation? No, I didn't. And I feel back, like, the reason why it might not have felt like that, I think to something like Acropolis, where you're sort of building the Greek city and you're trying to build houses in an area, and they have to be surrounded by this. And the gardens and the ponds and then the markets. Something I would expect to see on a habitable world. Whereas in this, I'm sort of like, well, I am technically building a civilization, but it's more of an industrial
without the people, without the cities, without the villages and all that stuff. Yeah.
So it's not there for habitation. It's there for, the farming of the resources as opposed to, living there. So when I'm going on the theme of, we're all having to come off world because our world is now uninhabitable, I kind of feel like I'm not actually building somewhere for people to live. You talked about the trees and stuff and the oxygen production. Yes, 100% I agree with that, but I get the feeling they're only there to, so the workers of the other bits don't die.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, I know it's a dirty word for you, but if you really want the immersion of building a world for habitation, I mean, play Terraforming Mars. Because that theme is much more immersive than this is.
Yeah. There's definitely 100% more into that, and I think if I was being honest, that I would like, you know, it kind of takes away from the game if I was to say no, it needs housing, it needs this, it needs that, because then there's just so much more busy work going on. So I'm sitting here saying I'm not sure I like it because it misses this, but I also don't want it to add this because it will then be too much.
I mean, there is an argument to be made for an extra layer of complexity that housing or the civ spaces, as they are in this game, must be connected to power and water.
Yeah.
Because, you know, your workers need electricity and water to survive.
Yeah.
You must have a certain amount of green space to provide enough oxygen.
Yep.
That kind of stuff. You know, there are other things, but that would make the game insanely difficult as a polyomino game.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%. James is really getting used to that word, aren't you?
He loves that word, didn't he now?
So yeah, I think really did it capture the theme for me? Yes and no.
I say eventually for me, yeah.
I would say if I had to pick one, I will go with yes, because I did feel like I was building a new civilization off-world, which is ultimately what the theme is about.
Did you feel it more on the advanced version though?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Because you're limited, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah, and I definitely preferred playing it on that advanced version because I found it more tricky.
Yeah.
And it made my mind whir a bit more.
Yeah.
Than that just base level that we were playing at originally. But I want to highlight, just because I've said a few negative things about that, I still enjoyed the game and I still enjoyed the theme.
Absolutely,
I think it works really well.
Yeah.
And yeah, 100% I really enjoy it. So speaking of enjoyment, overall, was it an enjoyable experience for you, Ant?
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Like I said, intimidating to look at, but I just fell in love with it straight away. And I knew that if I bought it myself, that other people would enjoy it as much as me.
Yeah, cool. James?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely preferred the advanced side. And I would say that it's probably, once you've played the advanced side, you're not going to go back to the basic side unless you're teaching a brand new player.
Yes, definitely.
And I'll be honest, I think if I was teaching this game now, I would probably handicap myself by actually playing the advanced side while allowing them to play the more basic side. I'd have to work out what the balancing issues on that is, because I don't know whether
I wonder if you can do that or not.
Yeah, be interesting to see.
You could probably, the balance on that would probably be you play on the advanced map, but not with an advanced corporation.
That would be fair. Yeah, I think that's what you probably have to do. So we've touched on it a little bit earlier. I think we were all guilty of it, but we'll talk about it in its own section as well. Value for money and repay value with this game. So for reference, at the time of recording, I did check this earlier today, you can pick this game up for as little as £68. So how do we feel about that? Because obviously we all know cost of games is going up. There's a few bits in here which have arguably cost quite a bit or are in the game or are adding to that price, but Anthony, you actually own this game. I don't know how much you pay for it.
I paid that price. Yeah.
How do you feel about the price that you paid for it?
I personally think it's a little steep, in my opinion. I'd happily pay it between 40 and 50, to be honest. I honestly don't know where most of it goes unless it's going to Lazy Susan, because everything else is just cardboard or double layered sheets, really.
Yeah.
If you think about it, everything else is your standard, what you would get in a board game, like your plastic rovers or your wooden meeple, meteorites, whatever sort of thing. So I can only imagine a majority of that buck has gone to the Lazy Susan, personally. So if you can get it cheaper, I highly recommend it, but I don't think it's worth that price, personally.
Okay, cool. James, I think I know your answer.
Yeah, I'm just going to end up echoing what Ant's just said there. It's like at 68, I think that's very steep, if I'm honest. But I also agree with what Ant said. I think a lot of that's gone into the Lazy Susan because this top layer of plastic is quite thick. It's vacuum formed to form the shape.
So for reference, it is officially a Game Trays product.
Right. Okay.
It's actually made it. With the license.
Right. That says it all then.
So yeah, a large portion of that has got got to have gone into the lazy Susan. But yeah, £68, little steep. I think I agree with Ant. The £40 to £50 would be a bit more reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be no surprise to anyone. I'm on the same track as you guys. I think it is a little bit steep. I'll be a bit more generous. I'd go 45 to 55, but
68 is something I would have thought a deluxe edition would be.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
And I know there is a version of that. But yeah, I can't understand why it's that price still.
It's a bit too steep for what you get in the box. And I'm trying to, talk myself into saying that there's great replay value in that money. But really, there is a lot of replay value in the game. But is it going to see the table enough to make up for that cost?
Yeah, exactly.
That's where I stumble and think, do you know what? I don't know if it will. I will always try and get it to the table.
That's the issue now, isn't it? You've got to try and make your money worth
exactly
getting 68 quid out of it.
And this is where I have to make that decision because I do not own this game. I like this game. I wouldn't say no to owning this game, but not at that cost. And I think I'd even talk myself out of it if it was at the top end of my section of 45 to 55. 45 to 50 is probably closer to where I would say this is where it should be. I think 40 is a bit too cheap, just going on the lines of the fact it's got the lazy Susan, it's got the the insert and what could be deemed as a deluxeified component. But yeah, 68 is way too steep in my opinion.
Yeah.
But there is definitely replay value there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So if you can get it cheap, the replay value is there. There's so much included in this game with gameplay, but not components. So, the final section, guys. Recommendations. Do you know what? I'll break the ice. I will go first. Taking into account the current cost attached to this game, I'm finding it very hard to recommend a purchase of this game unless you can get it at a cheaper price. So, can I recommend a purchase? No. Do I recommend you play it? 100%. This game is great fun. It's kind of a good mind game for me because this game can be as light as you want it to be, or it can be as thinky and as strategy driven as you want it to be. That's how I like to play my games. I know, James, when we play games, quite often you've had a long day at work and you're brain dead. It's perfect because I can sit there thinking about things and you can just do things randomly and still give me a run for my money. And I think it is ultimately, when it comes to the gameplay, the perfect game.
Yes.
So yeah, recommendations to play it, 100%. Don't recommend you buy it unless you can get it cheap.
I mean, obviously I paid the $4 for it, but I have got it to the table many, many a time, so I feel like I've got my money's worth out of it. Yeah. And again, like you said, Jason, mimicking you about the replayability, 100%. I really do adore this game. I've even backed the Supermoon expansion coming soon as well, so I don't even know what it is, but all I know is expansion. It was dead cheap as well, so but I look forward to it. And so again, when that comes, it's more chance to get it to the table again as well. But yes, the only downside was the price for it. But like I said, I've made the effort to show it to people. You guys like it. My gaming group likes it. My family likes it. I can't, I can't go back on that really. I mean, it was a good enough result for 68 quid.
Oh, hell yeah. If there's a version of this in your game group, just play it. It's really good.
If you get a chance, like Jason said, if you get a chance to play it, 100%, give it a go.
Yeah. James?
Yeah, so I'd largely echo what you would say. It's like, I'll go with gameplay first because I'll 100% say, if you can play this game, play it. If you like the look of it, play it. Purchasing, although the three of us have turned around and said, we think the price is a bit steep, if you know or can guarantee that you're going to get enough plays out of it, it's going to see the table a lot, might be worth
the dive, yeah.
It might be worth the dive.
Yeah, I mean, something we didn't cover, and it would actually add value to that price, is there's not many games out there that are really good at 6-player.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is really good at 6-player. And if you break down the cost, between...
It doesn't have a different feel for if it's 4-player or 6. It's the same thing every time.
Yeah.
I really like that, like you said, that variable complexity. It can be as simple or as difficult as you like. It's like, I like a game where if I've had a long day, as Jason said, and my mind switched off, I can just go, that piece there.
Yep. And it's under an hour as well.
Yeah. Or if I'm more switched on, that I can actually, all right, I want to play this game a little bit differently, and actually strategize. I don't think there's many games where you can actually do that. It's one or the other.
Yeah. or if you could do both, but you might be a bit of a disadvantage if you weren't doing strategy side. Recommendations? What sort of level player would you say?
This, I think, just a bit above Gateway Plus, because as Ant said, it's not actually a difficult game.
Okay. And
yeah, exactly.
I know you sort of mentioned it earlier with the family playing it. Are they? You say you stick to party games. Is that because they're just not into games?
So no, I'm trying to slowly get them into stuff. That's for the average gamer to understand. Like, we start with party games, and I think the last time we did, or the time before we did Planet Unknown, was Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Yep.
So again, nice and simple. Just take stuff out of a bag, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
And with this one, it's simply like James said: grab a tile, pop it on there, and points.
Nice.
What else is there not to go with?
See, I actually disagree with you, James. I think that this is in the lightweight category.
You think it's in the lightweight?
I would introduce this to someone who's never played a game before. I genuinely would. Granted, I'm not going to chuck them straight into the advanced sides.
No, but it's like when you play Tetris for the first time, anyone can play it. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
It's like, for me, it's like Project L.
Yes, I was going to mention that earlier, actually.
Because obviously you've got similar shapes and stuff like that. Obviously, in this one, you're putting them all on one board together. But Project L is that you look at a shape, can I build it? It's basically
I forgot the name of it. That's why I didn't bring it up earlier. I was like, there's another game that's like that.
So yeah, I would genuinely introduce this to people that have never played a game before. I put it in Gateway. I really do. So
nice.
Yeah, I think this has a wide enough appeal that it can do that. So yes, there you go. We've done a game highlight episode,
Woo-hoo!
guys. How do you think it went? Do you enjoy the game? Are you happy with it? Is it staying in the collection?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. If I've just got the expansion for it, of course it's staying there. Yeah.
Well, you never know.
Well, yeah, but no, it's definitely staying, mate.
Good. James, when are you buying it?
I'm not. I think I made that fairly evident in the
in the 68 category.
I know two people who own it.
Yeah, it doesn't need to buy it.
But what if you saw it for 30 quid? It's a bargain at 30 quid. Oh. Swear to God, if he agrees to it and I see it sold for 30 quid, I'm just going to batter him with posts.
I might consider it at £30.
Oh, okay. It could be his second game. There we go. Go nicely with Nemesis, terraform a planet, and then drive your aliens over onto it. Space theme. That's what James.
What it is. It's a space theme, mate. We all have our favourite themes.
Exactly. Right. Are we ready to head off and play some games before we
do this?
Call it a night? Excellent, because my name has been Jason.
I've been James.
And I've been Ant.
Join us next time for more tabletop gaming goodness. Ta-ta and goodbye.